Doctors and counselors continue to serve first responders and victims' families at Hualien Funeral Home. Professors and students from Dayeh University are generating electricity with the help of chlorella. Welcome to Dayeh Headlines. I'm Jenny Lee. Thank you for joining us. After Taroko train accident, a group of Chinese medicine doctors and psychological counselors continue to serve in Hualien funeral homes. They hope to relieve the physical and psychological burden of the victims' families and first responders.
Seeking Chinese medicine treatment, Mr. Zhang, who has served as a criminal police officer for more than 20 years, assisted in the follow-up work of the Taroko train accident, which lasted for 6 days, and his body was out of condition.
Sometimes I'm inside the morgue or stay outside, either standing or sitting, maybe more than 8 hours a day. The peripheral nerves of my leg would get numb, so I went to see Chinese medicine doctor.
Fu Jiaoling, who is a Chinese medicine doctor, started providing medical service at the funeral home from the second day of the accident and found that the symptoms of the patients began to change.
When I came to serve on Sunday, their symptoms were quite similar, that is sore shoulders and sore necks. But today there is back soreness, numbness in the left foot, tennis elbow or gastroesophageal reflux, and there was some dizziness as well.
Embracing and encouraging each other, the慈济volunteers who continued to serve at the Hualien funeral home after the Taiwan railway accident were finally relieved.
As time passes, people's trauma will be deeper, so we started with the way of group counseling. If we find that there is someone with inner depression or sadness, we will then refer him to a psychiatrist.
The Health Bureau stated that long-term psychological counseling will be provided to the first-line rescuers so as to help them get out of the trauma.
The tragic accident of Taroko Express leaves Taiwan's east coast traumatized. The distance from Taipei to Taichung is 400 kilometers. The ticket is often high in demand, resulting in some passengers standing for the journey. The 408 Taroko Express sold 120 unreserved tickets. As people push for Taiwan Railway's privatization, some wonder if this would really solve the problem.
When I was 20, I came to Taipei. I never told my family about it. It was us 3 to 5 students, and we got scammed immediately. Our money and ID cards were all stolen.
Under the olive tree, Hualien sang a song of drifting north as he drifted to Taipei for 30 years. Every time he talked about his hometown Taitung, tears streamed down his eyes.
Working in Taichung is mostly farming. It's really tough to find other jobs.
Though his construction projects were successful in Taipei, Hualien, in order to prevent business conflicts with people of his hometown, is unwilling to bring his business to Jilong. His time spent in Taipei quickly went by as he became middle-aged.
The reason I'm here is because I'm using my savings in order to help and make my hometown more beautiful.
Because Hualien isn't fond of Taiwan Railway's ticketing system, his truck became a major means of transportation returning home. But trucks aren't allowed into the Xueshan Tunnel, thus his journey home is about 400 kilometers, taking up to 8 hours. During the teaming festival this time, he didn't make the trip as after the Taroko Express accident, she received many phone calls.
It's sad that people in Taitung and Hualien have to go through this. We must drive around 110 kilometers per hour, but at least we wear seatbelts. But for the people who stand in trains, once the accident happens, they are impacted most.
In this accident, young people who purchased non-reserved seats were impacted the most, as Taiwan Railways announced that 120 non-reserved seat tickets were sold.
There were violent twists and the train stopped. I then opened the doors to find the front carriages derailed. There are about 52 people in each carriage, and today all carriages are fully seated. There are even people who stand.
Those who purchase non-reserved seat tickets are normally young people.
We know he's on the train, but we cannot call him, so we try to locate his whereabouts.
In 2008, a group of North Drifting college students established a team, requesting the MOTC to release more train tickets. Around the time, Cai Zhongyue, who was part of the team, was studying in Taipei.
On Lunar New Year Eve, we had to buy tickets 2 weeks before. At that time, we could get tickets at around 6 a.m., so we opened a press conference at 5 a.m. in front of Taiwan Railway's front door, and around 6:02 a.m., the tickets were all sold out.
In 2012, youth from Hualien, Taitung asked the government to remove non-reserved seats.
In 2013-2014, everyone talked about Chinese tourists taking our train tickets, but now they're gone. Tourists from Taiwan started to do the same. Afterwards, a real name system was introduced, so it's safe to say that after 2008, there have been multiple attempts to reform the system.
From 2008 to now, Taiwan Railways expanded their seating capacity of Eastern Region trains to 10,000 a day. But on holidays, tickets are impossible to purchase. Since the Fast Taroko Express and Puyuma Express are unable to add carriages, Taiwan Railways can only sell non-reserved tickets. Many people are willing to stand throughout the trip.
某种程度的根本知道是，如果人的离乡的人潮永远都是这么多的时候，
If there are many people leaving their homes, there should be the same number of people returning home. And along with tourism, it's crucial to build a system that can contain this volume.
At this moment, the transforming of Taiwan Railways to privatization became a major topic of discussion.
工程是有独立工程局。
The construction is conducted by the Railway Bureau, so it's obvious that their SOP encountered some problems. If Taiwan Railways is privatized, they still have to deal with the construction, therefore the problem is still here.
As drifters from the eastern parts of Taiwan felt desperate, the most severe accident in 70 years of Taiwan Railways had not only traumatized people, but it increased the voices of Taiwan Railways reform.
In Jilong, a second-hand assistive device platform provides equipment to people in need. Besides provision, volunteers also make regular visits to maintain the condition and quality of the equipment. Recently, volunteers made their way to New Taipei City's Pingxi district to provide new devices to Senior Zhang and Mr. Ling.
81-year-old senior Zhang lives alone in Pingxi as he suffers from diabetes for years. He also had to control his own blood sugar and oxygen saturation. Due to this, in January, volunteers provided him with a medical oxygen generator, but this wasn't utilized much since he couldn't handle it.
Actually, it's tough for seniors to live alone. We will do our best to provide helpful devices in order to let him improve his quality of life and further enhance his physical condition.
In March, besides inviting team members to help, volunteers also invited vendors to check on the medical oxygen generator's status. While they're there, correct use of the device is also being taught to the seniors.
Because he has diabetes, the more he lies down, the worse his condition gets. Therefore, once he has the oxygen generator, and along with the help of Tima, we hope to see positive change.
Look, he doesn't have the oxygen generator. When he gets home, he feels sick. Also, he lives in Pingxi, and I have told him multiple times that the device is beneficial to himself.
In Pingxi, every care recipient is distant from one another, as volunteers have to travel extra distances. This day, the household of Mr. Lin was visited. He was once helped by Jilong's assistive device platform. He has a bed that malfunctioned recently, thus volunteers arrived to bring care. Mr. Lin, living with his mother, is taken care of by his mother. Volunteers not only visit him to change up his equipment, but teach proper living ideals.
We help you to let you feel better, but one day you must help and bless yourself. Once you recover, you must be filial to your mother.
Combining assistive devices with medical care, patients living in remote regions now see a ray of hope while experiencing the warmth of society.
In Hualien, a 2-year-old boy suffered from an acute episodic hemolytic anemia due to an ointment application. Doctors have discovered the boy was born with glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. Pediatricians remind parents and those with G6PD deficiencies to avoid ointments that contain peppermint, as it could trigger an episode.
To avoid bug bites in children, parents often prepare ointments and sprays to protect them.
If they have already been bitten, then I'll choose plant-based solutions, such as tea tree oil to disinfect the wound.
Even if it's topical application, parents must be careful as a 2-year-old boy from Hualien suffered an episode of acute hemolytic anemia Due to an ointment application, his red blood cell levels dropped to 3.7, and it wasn't until he was at the hospital that they figured out he was glucose 6-phosphate hydrogenase deficient.
The deficiency doesn't protect the red blood cell like normal, and the red blood cells break apart, causing hemolysis, which can lead to hemolytic anemia. Symptoms can include fatigue, paleness, jaundice, or dark, tea-colored urination.
G6PD deficiency is a hereditary disease, and it occurs in 2% of the population in Taiwan, with the males 4 times as likely to suffer from this genetic malfunction. Those with this disease must take extra precaution for medicine as well, not just in their everyday life.
They must not come in contact with mothballs or ointments, which have peppermint or cooling agents. Another special one to avoid is crystal violet solution. We will remind patients or parents of a patient with G6PD deficiency to bring a card with them when going to a doctor to let them know that they have the deficiency, so the doctor can avoid prescribing medicine which may harm them.
Doctors also remind parents that within 48 hours, their newborn will undergo testing, and if abnormalities occur, they should look further into the problems to avoid future complications.
A team from Dayeh University is developing an innovative form of green energy. The team is led by the assistant professor Hualien. He and his students try to produce electricity with chlorella and sludge. Through microbial anaerobic effect, these microorganisms can generate electricity while purifying the water source.
At Dayeh University's laboratory, researchers set up their equipment as 2 things will be added into the experiment. This side, black water is removed, and on the other side, green water is being removed. To generate electricity, the process is being monitored by computers as researchers await for a result. Using microorganisms in the process of anaerobics, the team underwent 3 years of research, filtering over 60 types of chlorella in order to successfully generate electricity.
It's tough because chlorella is different from normal bacteria. It took us quite a while to find the most suitable one. A single bacteria, if left unattended, may disappear, and thus we have to restart our process.
During the process of generating electricity, chlorella can also purify the water source, as the technology hopes to find use in the near future in public park ponds or waste purification processing areas.
When the space is large, we can use large amounts of microcurrents, collect it, and store it for further use.
Renewable energy is becoming a global trend. Not just green energy, but most industries shift their focuses to clean, zero-pollution energy.
In Xiamen, China, Shuangxi Middle School Zhangzhou branch has been implementing eco-friendly actions in the school for 3 years. This time, volunteers were invited to raise environmental awareness to first-year students. The volunteers hope the students could use the knowledge and bring their families to action. Take a look.
The Shuangxi Middle School Zhangzhou branch has been practicing environmental protection in the school for 3 years now. The person behind this is teacher Lin Yuling, who recently invited Tzu Chi volunteers to have a seminar on environmental protection with the new students.
The students already have the concept of charity works, but they do not really understand about environmental protection and how to properly sort recyclables. So I thought that we can teach our new students on how to sort recyclables in their daily lives and also in their homes, hoping to use their actions to influence their family members to join in on protecting the environment.
The students have written their own short play on environmental protection, prompting the audience to reflect on themselves. By performing in the play, the students have also learned a lot.
We need to start doing recycling now and start from ourselves. We need to be diligent in doing recycling. If we see rubbish on the ground, we need to pick it up, sort it out, and place it in the recycling bin. We need to make our earth cleaner and greener.
With this lively play, also all the materials and videos, together with practical actions by ourselves, the students are truly touched by all these things, which are done by all of you. This is what I mean just now by the power of role model.
Education is not limited to the classroom anymore, as 386 students have learned a lot from this activity. It is hoped that they can bring the knowledge back home and practice it in their daily lives.
In Taichung, a vegetarian restaurant owner offers free lunch boxes to the public while promoting vegetarianism. Recently, an elderly Zhang Yucai supplied 1,500 lunch boxes for free, hoping to start a cycle of goodness and see more people enjoy vegetarian cuisine.
Outside of the restaurant, many people waited for a free vegetarian lunchbox. Besides the irregular scheduling of vegetarian lunchboxes supplied by the restaurant owner, on this day, 85-year-old Grandma Zhang Yucai bought vegetarian lunchboxes, hoping to see others enjoy vegetarian food. We do not use MSG, soy sauce, and preservatives in our food. We hope that everyone can eat healthily. Vegetarian meals brings benefits. Previously, Tzu Chi volunteers went to Jilong Junior High School, teaching students how to make vegetarian spring rolls. Using already prepared ingredients and layering it out on the papaya. The delicious spring roll is crafted with seasonal vegetables, as it is natural and healthy.
Vegetarianism is simple and healthy. This is what we want the children to know and feel.
Trying out vegetarian cuisine, one might discover a whole new world of delicious food.
In Tainan, 80-year-old self-taught artist Granny Guo Wu Fumei learned art when she was in her 60s. Her painting style conveys simplicity and warmth. She was invited to host an art exhibition displaying her works on the themes of everyday life.
Anping Old Fort, Anping Tree House, and Qimei Museum. Can you guess where the paintings lead us to?
It's hard, I can't even draw a horse, but if I imitate too much, it deviates from my style.
Tainan housewife Guo Wu Fumei started her drawing career since her 60s. Without proper training, she is talented and bold with colors.
A professor told me that I'm bold with colors, since the color green is often avoided by artists, but I'll use it. If I like the color, I'll use it. It's almost ready, fix it a little bit, because you have to consider shading and lighting.
Creatively using shading and lighting, Fumei loves to draw even at 80 years old, as she is a wife, mother, and daughter-in-law.
When I draw rice dumplings, they laughed about my coloring. My children prefer going abroad to study, but in the end, they find my homemade rice dumplings the best.
As her children succeed in their own fields, everyone in the family still remembers the warmth of home. The love as seen in Fumei's artworks displays time without distance.
I like the colors of the Muller's barbet. You can see motherly love on it. It's very moving. When I was married in Xinshi, life was tough. Those paintings display our old house. Now we live a much more relaxing life since we can go out and travel.
Simple art displays life forms in vibrant ways. The simple nature of it also produces resonances amongst the audience.
The white wax apple is famous in Xinshi district. Now it's rare. I like to draw things that are commemorative.
A real-life TV series is showcasing the life journeys of Southeast Asian spouses after marriage in Taiwan. One actor, Nguyen Ani from Thanh Hoa Province, Vietnam, speaks fluent Taiwanese, and she's a dedicated Taiwanese opera performer. Another is Nguyen Tu Hang, who was born in a rural village in northern Vietnam, but is now a well-known social media influencer.
Classmates like her very much and say, "Whoa, it's good that she's actually your teacher."
She's very beautiful, and I think it's a bit different from the average teacher.
A university lecturer with sweet appearance and a slight accent.
台湾有董同，对不对？董同听起来很像国语，对不对？董同就是总统的意思。
When I was skimming through Facebook, I saw someone recommend this. I just thought this internet celebrity is very cute, and I wanted to keep watching.
你要拖好一点了，老公。宠儿发咖啡。
This husband and wife show affection while interacting with each other and teach the audience how to learn Vietnamese. For more than 3 years, this Taiwanese and Vietnamese internet celebrity have produced hundreds of videos focusing on the culture of these two countries, attracting more than 200,000 subscribers.
嗨，大家好，我是秋恒。那你呢？跟我介绍。我是 John。啊，他是我老公啦。
When she was 5 months pregnant with her first child, her husband thought she was funny and lively in front of the camera.
哇，这边有超多鱼耶！
Well, there's a lot of fish here, and the Vietnamese word for fish is actually very simple. It's just one sound, ka. But I used to be an international student, so there are actually a lot of Vietnamese students who chose to come to Taiwan because they saw my video.
看到我的影片。
When she was young, her mother came to Taiwan, and Tu Hang followed her over to study abroad. After graduation, she married and settled here. The relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law became an unexpected neighborhood story.
就是他看到我呢。
It was a friend of my mother-in-law who saw me and kept going back. It was either your younger sister or younger brother.
对对对，就是他一直夸说，就说。
She told us that her son married a Vietnamese woman. Fortunately, she is persuading relatives that the children of relatives to also have Vietnamese girlfriends.
亲戚的小孩也是有越南女朋友之类的。
介绍一下，这2位越南的姐妹是那个秋人在网络上帮剧组找来的临时演员，对不对？
Another person who transferred from the internet into drama is Win Annie, who has been married in Taiwan for more than 15 years. She interprets the real life of the new immigrants in Taiwan. She looks like an actor, but is also affectionate and appealing to many who pass by.
The performance hopes to speak of the aspirations of new immigrants. We hope Taiwan society will not discriminate against us, and we are very tolerant and loving of others.
Leading this family theater troupe is part of Annie's obsession with Taiwanese opera, which began as a child. She married a Taiwan person and has become a sort of Vietnamese version of Sun Cui Feng.
一点红，大家都用台语讲，然后我用越南拼音写起来，然后用背的。 演艺圈这一块。
In the entertainment industry, I'm very grateful to the Taiwanese for their tolerance and care for new immigrants. I appreciate Taiwan's concern as we are given the opportunity to develop here today.
在做的过程当中，我们发现
In the process of doing this work, we found that we seem to have a sense of responsibility. That is, we hope that people on both sides can understand each other better.
可以互相的了解彼此。
Breaking through language and cultural barriers, whether through traditional media or the internet, both of these new immigrants in Taiwan are using their unique personal charms to create new cultural life in this melting pot of a nation.
After Taroko train accidents, many people are experiencing anxiety and insomnia. Chinese medicine doctors are teaching people how to relieve their stress by massaging acupuncture points. That's all for today. We'll see you next time.